Man, oh man, have I been proven right yet again. I mean, just wow at this point. If people cannot see that I am absolutely nailing this pattern, then they must be wearing blinders, because actress Hayden Panettiere just died on August 16th, the 228th day of the year. And anyone who's been paying any actual attention to my channel for the past year or so knows all about my 8/22 watch date, and that 8/21 is right in there as well, because they are like a chain link fence, and 8/21 is the 142nd prime number. That all-important May 22nd date is the 142nd day of the year, when Irina Zarutska, who was murdered on August 22nd last year, was born back in 2002, when the Gift Tower Sacrifice episode of Buffy with Michelle Trachtenberg as the Tower Sacrifice aired in 2001, when Olivia Rodrigo released her song The Cure this year, and it's also Memphis's founding date. And again, Panettiere dead on the 16th, which is Elvis's death anniversary. And I want you to look at where she died. Greenville, South Carolina. Once again, proving me right, because I'm going to show you Greenville's area code. 864, but more importantly, 8/21. So, she was born 8/21, and she died in the area code 8/21. Now you may ask, why does this prove me right? Well, because in this video here, I proved that Lindsey Graham's death on 7/11 last month was an eclipse ritual, both for the 35-year anniversary of the eclipse of the century and for the solar eclipse of August 21st, 2017. That was on Hayden Panettiere's 28th birthday. And remember that Graham is from Central South Carolina, which has the same exact area codes as Greenville, including 8/21. And remember that this eclipse left the United States via South Carolina at 2:48 p.m. That's not the only proof I showed that Graham's death was an eclipse ritual. For the rest, go watch that video. But of course, that connects Hayden to that eclipse as well. And before moving on, Bonnie Tyler, the singer of Total Eclipse of the Heart, her funeral is today, one day after Hayden Panettiere died. Also, do not forget that Bonnie Tyler is a perfect 4-bass cipher match to both Freemasonry and Welsh singer, which she of course was. And that shortly before his death, Lindsey Graham was said to have toured the Ukraine's Skyfall facility with their vampire drones. Remember, I connected that to the strain where the Statue of Liberty gets nuked, to block out the sun for the vampires like an eclipse does. And there's a James Bond film called Skyfall. Look at what James Bond equals in Latin. 8/22. The hardest cipher to find matches in, of course. We also have 250 down there in primes. And she actually has even more eclipse codes via an old TV show she was in, but I'll get back to that later. Also, her initials, HP. That, of course, is 8/16, and she died on 8/16. Of course, her middle initial is L. Sort of reminds me of H.P. Lovecraft. Again, that's something I'll come back to later, because now it's time to show even more of the pattern I've been following all year, and how this further proves me right. Right off the bat, I want to show you how absolutely right on the money I am, because Hayden Panettiere lived a total of 13,509 days. 509 plus 13 is 522. That all important date. And from her birth to the gift Tower Sacrifice air date on 5/22/2001, 4,292 days. 292 plus 4 is 296. 296 is the 233rd composite. Again, 233, the 51st prime, so it connects to May Day and Sacrifice. But the even bigger deal is that it's 11 years, 9 months, 1 day, 9/11/01. Of course, November 9th plus 1 day is November 10th, our 111-110 combo, which can also be 10/11, Michelle Trachtenberg's birthday, and 119 plus 1 would be 120, Inauguration Day. It's also 141 months, 1 day. 141 plus 1, of course, is 142, and May 22nd, the 142nd day of the year, 8/21, the 142nd prime number. 6/13 weeks, 1 day, or 6/14, Trump's birthday. And if we go 1 year later to Irina Zarutska's birthday, it's 4,657 days. 657 plus 4 is 661. 661, the 121st prime number. May Day, the 121st day of the year, again connecting to Sacrifice. And it's also 153 months, 1 day. Add that up, get 154. The 154th composite is 201, like event 201. Remember the 201st prime, 1229. 665 weeks and 2 days. Add it up, get 667. Your combination of your 66 and your 67. Again, Panettiere died on Elvis's death date. So both the twin number and the 67 are important. And on May 2nd this year, you know, the date that the gift turned exactly 9,111 days old, Olivia Rodrigo was on that horrible Saturday Night Live show making fun of Jake Paul, the boxer, who is actually a former co-star of hers on some TV show. And she also performed a driver's license parody. That, of course, was her first ever song. So, Rodrigo's connection to Jake Paul is very interesting. And you remember boxer Hannah Rapp just died here in Texas, the victim of road rage. I decoded that death heavily, as it is one of the most coded deaths I've come across in recent memory. Of course, the Hannah Rapp death also connects to Jake Paul, as well as boxer Anthony Joshua, as they both had a boxing match back on December 19th last year, and that was 10 days before Anthony Joshua's crash. So what is the deal with all the boxing connections lately? Not to mention this guy here. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. I'm going to try my best. Vladimir Klitschko. He is Hayden Panettiere's ex. In fact, she has a child with him, and he is a former professional boxer from the Ukraine, of all places. Remember Irina Zarutska, the Ukraine immigrant murdered on the Charlotte train on August 22nd last year. Who has been talking nonstop about boxers? Who has been talking nonstop about August 21st and August 22nd? Who has been talking about Olivia Rodrigo? And then shortly after I talked about her, I was proven 100% correct, as Trump showed up at Versailles on the date that is 4/17 on the Roman calendar, the release date of her song Drop Dead, which was shot at Versailles. Who's been talking about all the 9,111 day date anniversaries? Who's been talking about the undying importance of Michelle Trachtenberg? And who was talking about the upcoming 35-year anniversary of the eclipse of the century, which happened on 7/11, of course. And then shortly after I talked about that, Bonnie Tyler, the singer of Total Eclipse of the Heart, died. So if anyone out there thinks I'm not on the right path at this point, I don't know what to tell you. And yet, I get basically no views for my videos. Pretty sad. All these lame channels out here talking about nonsense get views out the wazoo. But my channel, the channel that has discovered an undeniable pattern, undeniable at this point. I mean, this whole death has proven me right yet again. So right in more ways than I can even tell you. And I'm going to show you how that is. Even more so. Because no one, and I mean absolutely no one, has dived as deep into the death of Michelle Trachtenberg as I have. The single most important sacrifice in years, in my opinion. And you know what? I'm once again proven absolutely correct on that point as well. Because remember this film, Ice Princess, which I talked about way back in January in connection to the January 7th phony ice shooting in Minnesota? Well, guess who plays Michelle Trachtenberg's rival in this film? That's right, Hayden Panettiere. And again, if you have been following my 822, 821 stuff, you know how it connects to Michelle Trachtenberg. Irina Zarutska, the Ukrainian immigrant killed on the Charlotte train on August 22nd last year, was born on May 22nd, 2002, exactly 1 year after the airing of The Gift, Tower Sacrifice of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, with Michelle Trachtenberg as the Tower Sacrifice, aka The Key, aka Dawn Summers. Hayden, born on 8/21, and the number 8/21, again, is the 142nd prime. The 142nd day of the year is May 22nd. Irina Zarutska's birth date, The Gift air date. Again, Olivia Rodrigo released The Cure on that date this year. Memphis's founding date, and Panettiere died on Elvis's death date. She had a child with a Ukrainian boxer. All the boxers I've been talking about lately. Hannah Rapp, Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul, the character named Boxer Santeros from Southland Tales. I mean, if you cannot see the connections I'm making here, I don't know what to tell you. But it definitely feels good to know that I'm on the right track, and for that to be proven repeatedly. And again, I showed you that not only did Olivia Rodrigo make fun of Jake Paul in that SNL skit, she also made fun of her own song, Driver's License. Guess when this song came out? January 8th, 2021, Elvis's birthday. Again, Panettiere died on his death date. So again, the connections. And sorry if it seems like I'm taking a strong tone here, but I get really sick of seeing these other people who have no idea what they're talking about act like they're true decoders when they're just completely clueless, and yet they get so much traffic it's unreal. And I say this because the ego on some of these people and the stupidity of some of the people who follow them really is mind-numbing. But hey, if they want to follow brain-dead money grubbers, more power to them. Meanwhile, I'm being proven correct time and time again. What is this, the 5th or 6th time in a matter of months that I've been proven absolutely spot on? And Panettiere became most famous when she was in this show, Heroes. I never watched this show. The commercials were annoying enough. No way was I ever going to watch this show. But it has blatant eclipse imagery, so I thought I'd look into it. Well, lo and behold, there are 2 separate episodes titled The Eclipse, and they are Season 3, Episodes 10 and 11. Who was born on 10/11? Michelle Trachtenberg. 9 months, 11 days into the year. You know how she relates to eclipses, as she was born 17 days before a blood moon eclipse, died 17 days before another blood moon eclipse, this one being the Pi Day eclipse. And she was in a film called 17 again. Do you honestly think that's a coincidence? 17 days later when she was born, and then 17 days later again after she died. The production codes for the episodes are 310 and 311. Of course, 310 plus 311 would be 621, and 821, Panettiere's birthday, is 621 on the Roman calendar. And again, I cannot stress enough how absolutely important it is that 821 is the 142nd prime number, the 142nd day of the year, May 22nd, that all-important date when The Gift aired, when Irina Zarutska was born, when Memphis was founded. Do you think it's any coincidence Olivia Rodrigo chose to release The Cure on that date this year? Now this here is Panettiere's younger brother, and he died in New York City on February 19th, 2023. So from her brother's death to her own death, exactly 182 weeks. And I've shown you how the 182 connects to 822, as the composite is 234, 822, the 234th day of the year, which means Panettiere's birthday, 821, is the 233rd day of the year. 233, the 51st prime, 51, the date of pagan sacrifice. 182, also the 139th composite. And remember, Bonnie Tyler equals 139. Her funeral today. And would you look at that, because Hayden L. Panettiere is another 182. We also have our 88 and our 777, order out of chaos in Latin number. But yes, the fact that her brother died exactly 182 weeks before she did is absolutely pertinent to the puzzle I've been putting together all year long. They also died 1,274 days apart. 274 plus 1 is 275. 275 is the 216th composite. You know, like 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. You can also do 2 plus 7 plus 4 is 13, 113. Remember that Rebecca Del Rio equals 113 ordinal. Absolutely huge part of this puzzle. If you haven't, check out my Rebecca Del Rio video. But you know, if you include the end date, Hayden and her brother died 1,275 days apart. And again, if you watch my channel, you know that the 1275 is huge, because Jesus Christ equals that number in Latin. So yet again, it all comes back around. Now, if you go from his death anniversary this year to her death, it's 178 days. That brings it right back around yet again, because 178 is the 137th composite, and the 178th composite is 228. August 16th is the 228th day of the year, leaving 137 days remaining in the year. So, how perfect. And of course, you know that 228 can be like 822, and you know that the Iran War started on 228. Her death was also 5 months and 28 days after the death anniversary of her brother. 528, of course, is both mine and fictional character Donnie Darko's birth date. And then her brother's actual name is 1307 in Latin, or 137. Drop the 0. We also have our 88, our backwards 9/11. The 214th day of the year is 8/2. Not only J.D. Vance's birthday, but someone else who's important to this puzzle, and I'll get to that soon. Now you take out the middle name, and we get 816 in reverse satanic, his sister's death date. Also 1181 in Latin, the 194th prime, the 194th day of the year is 713. 176 ordinal, the 176 composite is 225, which can be like 522, 1056. You know how that number connects to Trump? So, her brother died in New York, and Hayden was in this film, Scream 6, which took place in New York. In fact, the film premiered in New York on March 6th, 2023 at the AMC Lincoln Square Theater, Lincoln. So a lot of New York coding in the news lately. Do not forget the boat that capsized after visiting the Statue of Liberty on 8/8, the Lionsgate portal date. I, of course, was going to do a full decode on that, but I decided to scrap it. I wanted to focus more on the whole 822 thing. It was absolutely a ritual, though. Many codes found. Well, AMC Lincoln Square Theater, where Scream 6 premiered, equals 254, which of course is 9/11, and 101, the 26th prime number. And if you actually type out the 6 in Scream 6, you get your 666 and your 111. Remember, 9/11 is the day that leaves 111 days remaining in the year. You also get your 39. Michelle Trachtenberg died at the age of 39, the 26 composite. Of course, we all know that Michelle Trachtenberg was born in New York and died in New York. And again, Scream 6 takes place in New York, premiered in New York, and New York is another 111, 39, 666. Now, Panettiere actually first appeared in Scream 4. Now, it seemed like her character was killed off, but they decided to bring her back for some reason, even though, in my opinion, she was not remotely likable. Scream 4, 622. 822 is 622 on the Roman calendar. We also have our big 107 number. You know all about that number and all that it equals. Our 44 kill number. 213, the 165th composite. And 317 right below it, the backwards 713, the 137. It was director Wes Craven who did not want to kill off her character. And I told you we would come back to that 8/2 because Wes Craven, director of Scream 4, born on August 2nd, 1939 in Cleveland, Ohio, died August 30th, 2015. This, of course, means that Panettiere died 14 days after his birthday and 14 days before his death date. 2 14s, and Craven was born on the 214th day of the year. Well, Wesley Earl Craven gives us 188. Which anyone who knows my channel knows is Michelle Trachtenberg's number. Again, Trachtenberg in Ice Princess with Panettiere. We also have our 71. Lindsey Graham died at that age, and again, you saw how he connects to 821, The Eclipse, South Carolina. Panettiere died on Elvis's death date. Elvis is currently 91 years of age. Just Wesley Craven, 152. Remember, 76 plus 76 is 152. The Fall, where the Statue of Liberty gets nuked, was aired on 76 date numerology, and 822 this year also has 76 date numerology. And just Wes Craven as he went by, 110. You know how big that number is. You know how it connects to Michelle Trachtenberg, how it connects to the World Trade Center, and how it connects to 522. In fact, we have our 5-2 over here. Again, 5-2 this year, the date that the gift turned 9,111 days old. Hayden's character in the Scream series is Kirby. 821 standard. Her birthday is 821. 501, like 5-1, the date of pagan sacrifice. And not only that, but the 501st composite is 614, Trump's birthday. Now this is pretty damn incredible, because if we go from Wes Craven's birth to Panettiere's death, it's 31,791 days. What is 791 plus 31? 822. So how's that for a bombshell? It's also 87 years and 14 days. 87 plus 14 is 101. Again, the 26th prime. We're in the year 2026. And then you can also consider it August 7th plus 14 days and land on 821. And if we go from Craven's death to Panettiere's death, it's 4,004 days, or 44, the kill number. Also, 10 years, 11 months, 17 days. Who was born on 10/11? Again, Michelle Trachtenberg. 9 months, 11 days into the year. And the 17 after it, you know, like Michelle being in that movie, 17 again, which connects to the blood moon eclipses. By the way, she is in this movie with Matthew Perry. He was from that horrible show Friends that I never watched a single episode of, but from what I've heard, it was a highly satanic show. Well, Courtney Cox is in the Scream films, so there's another connection there. Of course, Perry had his own bizarre death a few years ago. And by the way, speaking of blood moons, there is a partial blood moon eclipse coming up on August 27th. 96% of the moon will be obscured. So again, very heavy on the eclipse themes. Also absolutely worth noting that in this film, Michelle Trachtenberg plays Maggie O'Donnell, which equals 288 in Latin gematria, and 288 is the 226 composite. Of course, she died on 226. Perry, by the way, his character goes from 37 to 17 again, and August 21st this year would have been Panettiere's 37th birthday. And again, it's really like a chain link fence, as I said before. 9,111 days old on 822, 9,110 days old on 821, but if you include the end date, it'll be 9,111 days old on 821. That said, I prefer not including the end date. Both do count, but I just find not including the end date is the more organic way of getting the connections. Like on your birthday, say you're 26. You're 26 years old exactly, not 26 years and 1 day, which is how it would look if you include the end date. But again, both count. Remember how I said Hayden's initials reminded me of H.P. Lovecraft? Well, he was born August 20th, 1890. So, birthday 1 day before Panettiere's, and he died March 15th, 1937. 315, of course, is the 74th day of the year. Very interesting to note that if you go from Lovecraft's death Two Panettieres is 32,661 days. Also 89 years, 5 months, and 1 day. Consider that August 9th plus 5 plus 1, and it would be 8/15, which means if you include the end date, it would add up to 8/16, her death date. But yeah, the day amount was very interesting to me, because that means if we go to Panettiere's birthday, 8/21, her 37th birthday, it'll be 32,666 days. So not only do we have our 666 in there, but 3 times 2 is 6. So it could be twin 66s as well. 4,666 weeks and 4 days. She was in a movie called Remember the Titans, which equals our 195, absolutely huge number. The 195th day of 2024, Trump's butler ear clips Shannon Doherty's death. 195 also equals many interesting things like Trier Mega Zeppelin, like 11 skydivers, etc. In fact, one article listed her character from that film as sharp-tongued. Sharp-tongued, our 888 beast system number. Also our 1056 there. Donald J. Trump equals 1056. Ice Princess, 120. That's Inauguration Day. 57. Michelle Trachtenberg died on the 57th day of the year. 226. 57 is the 127th day of the year. 177. Like actress Davy Chase, like New World Order, like the Jesuit Order. 444 Standard. 39 Chaldean, Michelle Trachtenberg's death age, the 26 composite. Hayden plays Jennifer Harwood in the film 162. The 162nd day of the year is 6/11, the upside down 9/11. 66 twin number down there in Chaldean. Last year, the Firehorse number. Just Jen Harwood for short. There's our 110. 56. Remember that Ted Turner died on 5/6, and his name equals 614 in Latin. And with just the name Jennifer, 192, the 192nd day of the year is 7/11, when Lindsey Graham died, when the eclipse of the century turned 35 years old, or 12,784 days old. We also have our 5/1 sacrifice number, 39 again, 222 twice. And again, not only is that our Order Out of Chaos number, but it's also our Michelle Trachtenberg 284 number. As remember, the 222nd composite is 284. Michelle born on the 284th day of the year. I didn't get to this as quickly as I wanted to today, so I don't have enough time to finish everything, but more to come on this. I'm going to put all the pieces together in a more cohesive whole. All glory to God, and thank you for watching.